Hi, John Cornetta here. Welcome to this segment on distribution planning. If you haven't downloaded the notes yet, you can do so at this time and then come back and watch this content. Today we're going to talk about distribution planning. This is deciding how to take your retirement account away from the company at retirement. First, we need to look at what type of a plan you have. There's three types of general plans that exist. There's a defined benefit plan, which defines the benefit that you're going to get at retirement. This is typically identified as a pension plan. So what the company does is they average your last 3 to 5 years worth of salary at retirement, and then you'll get 60% or 70% or 80% of that paid to you on a monthly basis for life. There is a defined contribution plan. That's the type of a plan where your employer sets up an account and money is deposited into your account. Because the contribution is defined, this typically means that the employer will put away 15% of your wages each and every year. Sometimes there's the 401k provision, which allows you to match or make additional contributions. So the first one defines the benefit that you're paid at the end. This defines the contribution that the employer puts in during all of the years of your employment. And then certainly some employers have a combination of both. So let's take a look at the defined benefit plan as an example. So the company has a pot of money along with all your other coworkers, and you can choose from a number of different choices. You can choose a single life payment at $3,480 a month, or a joint life payment at $3,120 a month. However, if you die, your spouse will then get $1,560 for the rest of his or her life. So you're taking a little less in the initial contribution benefit. However, if you pass away, your spouse gets half. Sometimes this is 100%, sometimes it's 60%. With a defined benefit plan, when you die, the company keeps the rest of the money. So imagine you take the single life payment, you retire, you get $3,400 a month. If you die in 2 months, the company keeps all of the rest of the money. If, however, you live until you're 100, you get $3,480 for the rest of your life. So also it's common to have a life with a guaranteed period. So for example, 10 years. So in this example, you get $3,240 a month for life, but it's guaranteed for 10 years. So let's say you were a single individual, you had 2 children that you wanted some benefit for, and you did not think you would live long because of your health or an illness, and you might take this guaranteed payment plan for 10 years. That way, if you died in a year or 2 or 3, the family members, the children, would get the balance of those payments up to 10 years. And then you can also do a lump sum distribution. So the company may give you an opportunity to take it out of the company and roll it into your own IRA where you get to manage it. So not all companies offer all of these. Some will offer a variety of different approaches. So you really need to look at this with your accountant or your financial advisor to make sure that you're picking the best distribution for you and your family and your family's resources. So let's take a look at a single person. So a single person primarily would have the 10-year guaranteed payment and would only take that if they believe they were going to die sooner than 10 years. They can take $3,480 a month, or they can roll over $500,000 into an IRA. Well, which is better? there is a break-even analysis that you can do on these two different choices. A CPA, a financial advisor, can calculate this for you. But the break-even at 5% happens to be 18.25 years. So if you think you're going to live longer than 18.25 years, taking the monthly benefit is better. If you think you're not going to live that long, then taking the $500,000 IRA rollover is better. So let's take an example that a person does this and dies in year one, the family gets nothing. Where here, the employee takes the IRA rollover, takes distributions. After year one dies, the family gets whatever is left over. So pretty critical to think about the break-even analysis. If you're going to live fewer than those years, the IRA is better. If you're going to live longer, then the pension is better. There's other factors that play into this. If you think you can earn better than 5%, needless to say, the IRA may be better because it's going to grow to a bigger number and would last longer than the 18 years. If you were a poor money manager and you would likely spend all of this money quickly and you would outlive your retirement, you might take the pension because you will get $3,480 a month every month as long as you're alive. This is not based on the stock market, so it doesn't go up or down. Where this is based on the stock market or investment risk, this is fixed, so it does not go up as inflation goes up, where this may go up or down again. So pretty critical choice when you retire. You get to make this decision at retirement and you can't change your mind. So it is a very important decision to think about and to get correct. So again, a single person, what are they going to think about? They're going to look at their health. Do they think they're going to live longer than 18 years or less than 18 years? They're going to consider the inflation effect because this is fixed and will not go up. If they're concerned about inflation, they may want to take the IRA where they can invest it and hopefully make the 5% plus something towards inflation. Growth, again, is a factor. If you think you can invest the money at better than 5%, the IRA would be a better choice. If you think you're poor at budgeting and you might mismanage your own retirement, the monthly pension might be better for you. And then, of course, your age at retirement has a factor because of the number of potential retirement years left. So those are all the factors that a single person would put into the mix relative to their choice. Now let's take a look at a married person. So now you have a spouse. You certainly can do the IRA rollover again. You could take the joint life annuity, which means you're going to get $31.20 a month for the rest of your life. And if you died before your spouse, then he or she's going to get $15.60 a month for the rest of his or her life. Or you can still take the single life. So there are three choices that are available, and including this 10-year guarantee that I didn't put on the chart. If both you and your spouse were very unhealthy and you didn't think that either one of you would live for the 10-year period, again, that might be a better choice. So needless to say, the break-even calculation is a little more tricky because the number changes, and we're not only looking at your life expectancy, but we're also looking at your spouse's potential life expectancy. So what do we do then? Of course, the age of your spouse. If your spouse was substantially younger, you would want to take the joint life annuity because that young spouse hopefully would live a lot of years and enjoy that $1,500 a month payment. Clearly, the health of both spouse is critical. You could take the 10-year guaranteed payment. You certainly would be favoring an IRA rollover, because if both you and your spouse died in 2 years, the family would have the rest of the $500,000 in the IRA to leave to children or grandchildren. Financial resources of both of you. You might take the single life annuity if your spouse also has a pension. So I'm going to retire. I'm going to take the $3,400 a month. If I die, yes, it stops, but my wife has her own pension or her own annuity or her own resources, so she's really not dependent on the balance of my pension. When I die, I might take the single life because then I'm going to get more per month. So your financial ability then also to manage money plays a part. Again, if you think you're good at managing money and you're financially responsible, an IRA rollover may be better for you, where you don't trust yourself with managing your own funds, then the single life pension or the joint pension might be better. So that's a look at the defined benefit plan and the different choices. As you can see, this is an extremely important decision at retirement. You only get to make it once, and then once you make it, you're stuck with it. So a defined contribution plan, this is again where every year you earn a salary or a paycheck, and the company is going to set aside a percentage towards an account, and you own that account. So it can be 5%, 10%, 15% of your pay each year. Many of these have a 401k element or a matching portion, so you save some and your employer matches it. But unlike a pension, when you leave, this account is yours. You can, at most companies, they will allow you to create an annuity, which is a pension, just like before. So you can take this chunk of money and they'll go out and buy an annuity product that gives you that same $3,000 a month, let's say. Or you can do a lump sum distribution. You can take all of the money out of the company, out of your account, pull it all out, pay the tax on it, and it's your money. Not many people do this because, of course, of the tax consequences attributed to that big distribution, but it is available. We'll talk about where this might be appropriate later. And your other alternative is to roll it into an IRA, where again, then you manage it for yourself and take distributions. So that is a defined contribution plan. So let's talk about a lump sum distribution. What is a lump sum distribution and when can you do it? Essentially, you have to take all of it out in one calendar year. So if you take some out in year one and you want to do a lump sum distribution in year two, too bad, you've blown it. So you must take all of the money out of the account in one calendar year, taxable year, after a qualifying event. And there's 3 events. You can do this at separation from service, when you retire. You can do this after age 59 and a half, or you could do it, your family could do it in your death. So if you separated from service, let's say at age 53 or 54 or 57, and you took distributions from the retirement plan, then when you turned 59 and a half, you can do a lump sum distribution again. So each one of these events requalifies you to do a lump sum distribution. Now, of course, if you retire after 59 and a half, then you only get this event and that event. But if you retire before 59 and a half, you get 3 opportunities to do a lump sum distribution. These are the lump sum distribution rules. There's a couple of more rules, and then I'm going to show you a special technique where it's advantageous to do a lump sum distribution rather than a rollover. So the next term that we have to analyze is what's called net unrealized appreciation. So let's take a Procter & Gamble employee as an example, and in her account there is $800,000 worth of Procter & Gamble stock with a cost basis of $100,000. When a company has company stock in your retirement account, they keep track of the cost basis. So we know what the Procter & Gamble is worth, of course. We also know, because the company's kept track, of the cost of all those shares in your retirement account. You could not do this with a mutual fund or with cash, or if you worked for GE and there was Procter & Gamble stock in your account, you can't do it. You have to work for the company, and that company's stock has to be in your retirement account. Now you can do a lump sum distribution, take out all of the P&G stock, and pay tax on the $100,000, not the $800,000. So this is a significant opportunity to avoid income taxes on your retirement distribution. And the difference between the cost and the $800,000 is NUA, or net unrealized appreciation. So we're going to take a couple of examples and show you how this works. First off is you have to have a defined contribution plan. Second, it has to have your own company stock in it. Third, the difference between the cost basis and the fair market value needs to be significant. And then fourth, you have to do a lump sum distribution to take advantage of the NUA method. I think GE stock of clients that I have, the fair market value in the cost is so close that there really isn't any advantage in doing the NUA method. For example, here in Cincinnati, there's a number of Procter & Gamble clients where the cost is substantially lower than the fair market value, so there is a big difference in NUA available. So what would be the tax effect? So let's say this particular client, individual, retired from Procter & Gamble. She took the whole $800,000 out of the retirement account in a lump sum distribution. The fair market value is $800,000. The cost is $100,000. She is allowed to pay tax on the $100,000, not the $800,000. If you think about a 20% tax bracket, she's going to write the IRS a check for about $20,000 to pull $800,000 out of her retirement account. If you think about that and calculate that tax cost, that's a tax cost of 2.5% to pull out $800,000. That's a huge opportunity to reduce your income taxes on your retirement assets. In the other section where we reviewed income taxes and we reviewed the rules that applied to IRAs, remember, in an IRA, it's all subject to ordinary income tax at higher tax rates. At 70.5, you have to take it out over your life expectancy, which forces income tax. If she does a lump sum distribution and pays the tax, she's done with that. It's not in an IRA. There are no required minimum distribution rules. And if you remember, now the dividends here get a lower tax rate as well. So go back to the income tax IRA rules to listen to that and see that difference. Now that it's out in Procter & Gamble stock, she gets qualified dividends. those qualified dividends and the capital gain would be at lower tax rates. The basis in her stock is $10 a share. So if she ever sells P&G stock in the future, she will trigger the NUA and she'll pay capital gains tax on the NUA at the time. So extremely low income tax alternative if you work for a company where your company's stock is in your plan and the cost is much lower than the fair market value. So the nice part about this NUA rule is it's not all or nothing. You can do some of each, which is pretty flexible. So imagine the same client, she has $800,000 in her profit sharing plan at Procter & Gamble. It's all in Procter & Gamble stock. Can she choose to take $200,000 out in P&G stock and roll $600,000 in an IRA? The answer is yes, she can do it. She still has to do a lump sum distribution, which means she has to take this all in 1 year. It's called a partial rollover. So part's going to be rolled over. Simultaneously, part's going to come out in Procter & Gamble stock. Now she's going to pay tax about $5,000 to pull $200,000 out. So now she gets the best of both worlds. Some of her retirement is out at a very low tax cost. Some is rolled into an IRA where she could diversify. The advantages then, of course, much lower tax to withdraw on the part that's over this side. We've converted it from ordinary income to dividend and capital gain. Again, remember, every dollar you take out of the IRA is subject to ordinary income tax rates, and those rates are 10% to 39%, where the dividend capital gains tax is much lower, 0% to 20%. And the IRA rules do not apply to this side. So if you have the opportunity to use the net unrealized appreciation method or NUA method, you can do a lump sum distribution and you can pull your company stock out, and it has a very low cost basis assigned to it. Again, this is a great opportunity to manage your distribution and to manage your future income tax planning. So go through that calculation if it is available. So as you can see, when you retire, the companies have defined benefits plans, which are pensions. There's multiple choices there. There are break-evens. You have to consider your health. You have to consider whether you're married or single. You have to consider your financial capabilities and discipline in deciding what's best for you, but it's an extremely important calculation. You also have seen that there are defined contribution plans. There you get to roll it into an IRA, you get to annuitize it, turn it into a pension, or you get to do this lump sum distribution and take advantage of the NUA method to minimize taxes. So it is critically important to understand your options. The company will report all these options to you, and you can take them to a financial planner or advisor or CPA and actually calculate the break-even and the return analysis to see what's right. You need to evaluate the numbers, and then again, you need to seek tax help. Tax to calculate which is the best tax strategy, short-term and long-term. You need to talk to your financial planner. While you can take $800,000 out in Procter & Gamble stock, if it's all in Procter & Gamble stock, that might not be the best financial plan for you. And then also there's estate planning implications on this decision. Again, both estate tax, estate planning, and distribution planning. If you take the single life annuity as a pension and you die 2 months after you retire, your spouse gets nothing and your children get nothing. Well, it's a pretty effective estate plan. There's nothing to do or to worry about, but your family will have no resources. So this is a critical decision when you retire. Get the professional help that you need to properly analyze the situation. Thanks for participating in this section on distribution planning. I hope that this helps you create a successful retirement.